So here we are again. Story time. The time that a friend of mine shot a dude in Charlotte, North Carolina. So let me take it back, a little bit, right? So prior to me living in Charlotte, in the early 2000s, I say like around 2003, 2004, I lived in Raleigh, North Carolina. While I was living in Raleigh, North Carolina, I'm not gonna lie, sold bootleg DVDs and CDs. There's a particular spot that I used to be at, located off of Pool Road. It was a strip mall there. In that area, you had a Food Lion, a grocery store rather, Kentucky Fried Chicken, a McDonald's, a gas station, a Burger King. You had Rent-A-Center. I was setting up in the middle or in between a Chinese food restaurant and a beauty supply store. So you could only imagine the type of traffic that used to, go through there because of the fact that that was just, the place to be. If you want to get something fast food, like McDonald's or gas or groceries, or you was, renting furniture, you wanted to get Chinese food or go to the beauty supply store, no disrespect, to get your tubiyaki and grease and sandals and flip-flops, all of that stuff, right? So, I made a fairly decent amount of money out there. I mean, the business out there, it was a lucrative business at the time. You know what I'm saying? There was no such thing as not Netflix. The internet was around, but it wasn't as big as it is now. We didn't have, at that time, we didn't have social media like that. The only thing that was out at that point in time was MySpace and BlackPlanet.com. And I think Facebook was just now, coming into existence. So there was no such thing as no Instagram, no YouTube, TikTok, the list goes on. You understand? We had no smartphones. Our phones were pretty much dumb at the time. We had flip top cell phones, that really didn't have internet access. We could take pictures, but they were kind of like, the pixelation of them wasn't really that great. You understand? So, at that time, I guess we were living like, prehistoric. So people would come up throughout the weekends and, pick up, movies and CDs from me and everything. And it was good. It was good for, like a year or two. And then eventually other people started catching on to what I was doing. And they saw like the traffic coming through that area. And they would in turn later on set up their own spot in a parking lot and selling different things. I mean, like when towards the end, it was the dude out there selling crack. So they messed it up for me to the point where, the cops would call, and everybody got shut down. You understand? So while in the process of me selling those bootleg movies and CDs, I was writing my books, and I used the money that I made off of the bootleg movies and CDs to actually get my books printed up. I'm a self-publisher. You know what I'm saying? I publish my own work, right? So I got that done. I had got flyers done. I did like CDs, like at that time back then I was in the spoken word and all of that. So I did like promotional CDs and stuff like that with me doing poetry with music in the background and all the rest of that, right? Excuse me. So, I decided that, what? I'm going to go out there and I'm going to sell my book. So it was slow in Raleigh. You understand? And while in the process, I failed to mention this, I was part of a cult called the Nubian Nation of Moors or whatever, right? The leader is Dr. Malachi York. And it was a female that wanted to put a bookstore up in Charlotte, right? So I would be selling my books on the weekdays, and then on the weekends, every other weekend, I would go up to Charlotte and have these meetings with her, to help her open up this bookstore, till eventually she wound up opening the bookstore herself. And she invited me to, be a part of the bookstore that was up there, that the cult had opened, right? So I was like, man, I'm not making that much money in Raleigh, and I see that it's there's more of a population in Charlotte and, more successful black people up there. And, maybe if I go up there, I'll have a better chance with, selling my books, right? So I packed my children up, those that have listened to my story, Confessions of an Ex-Nubian and other stories as well. Y'all already know the story that I'm about to tell. I packed my children up. I put them, well, the mother of my children and my children up, put them on the Amtrak. I got in my car with a revolt license, a fictitious license plate, no brakes, and no car insurance, and drove all the way up to Charlotte. When I get up to Charlotte, I'm driving around and I'm, getting familiar with the area, whatever have you. I go to Uptown and I'm starting to, sell my books, right? But I'm not making enough money in order to pay my rent. Then at the same time, I'm going to the bookstore and I'm actually selling books, Dr. Malachi's York comic books and stuff, right? But the bookstore is not paying me anything, right? I'm just doing this shit for free. So I eventually got tired of that, left the bookstore, and I wind up getting stopped by the cops. I get arrested, go downtown, the mother of my children bails me out. Here I am now. The car got repossessed, I mean, the cops took it, but while in the process of, them, having it, the repo man was looking at, trying to find me, and they wind up locating the car and they took that. So here I am, I'm broke, I have no money, I have no car, and the only thing I have is my books. And the best thing that I could do is kind of like order some oils and incense. I had a little bit of money left, and prior to me selling bootleg movies and CDs, I used to sell oils and incense. So I already had the connect with that. So I wound up getting some oils and incense and some books, and I wound up catching a bus going to different places. And I'm not gonna lie, it got to the point where it got frustrating. I couldn't really find a spot that I wanted to be at. You understand? So eventually, I wind up finding this one spot located off of the intersection of Betty's Fort and Sunset Boulevard, right? So this spot was exactly like the spot that I had in Raleigh. It had a food line, or rather a grocery store, a barbershop, a Family Dollar. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was a laundromat. It was a Kentucky Fried Chicken and a Taco Bell across the street. There was a CVS pharmacy right across the street, and then further up Sunset Boulevard there was an ABC store. So there was a lot of traffic in that area. You understand? So I get out there and I'm in a parking lot and I'm selling my oils and my incense and my books, right? And people, I've always had the gift of gab. So people were buying my book all for the strength of just, me being who, being my personality. Not so much of them being interested in the book that I was selling, or them just being advocate book readers. You know what I'm saying? So, I saw that, it could be a lucrative business out here. And I decided to go out there a little bit more. Eventually, I started meeting other people that were selling other products out there as well as I was. Met this one dude, I call him G. You understand? This guy, I think he was from Jersey, right? And that's the first dude that I met, I encountered out there. And he was selling his CDs and DVDs in these little white slips, right? There wasn't no like DVD covers or nothing like that. They were just white slips, right? And it was enough. They was so small to the point where he could put them in. He could have like hundreds in his book sack. So he would actually go around the parking lot selling his DVDs and his CDs. And for those that were interested and didn't have money, he would hand them a flyer. And for those that bought, CDs and DVDs and wanted to continue to purchase them and didn't know how to get in contact with them, he would hand them the flyer. And the flyer would have a list of the latest DVDs and CDs that he had, as well as his name and number up there, right? So, we begin to talk, and he's getting a feeling, trying to feel me out and seeing what I'm selling. And I'm like, I'm not a threat, my man. I don't sell DVDs and CDs and nothing like that. All I do is sell, oils and incense in my book. So he's like, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? So we talk or whatever. And G had another dude. Had a dude, a short dude, right? And I really didn't too much like him. You know what I'm saying? He always had an attitude. But, and he used to hate on me too, because I used to, go out there, nice sneakers, all that stuff. I was fresh to death, right? So, I met G. So I kept on going out there, Sooner than later, I met this guy. I'll call him B, right? B was selling the same thing that G was selling, which was CDs and movies and stuff like that, right? So I knew, based off my past experiences, being out in the spot and seeing what other people saw that I did and messed it up for me, I knew that there was going to be like some friction between B and G. because they were selling the same thing in the parking lot, right? So I wound up befriending B. B was real cool. He was from Ohio. I ain't gonna tell you what specifically the city he was in, you know what I'm saying, from. But he was from Ohio, pretty laid back, cool dude, you know what I'm saying? I knew that he was rough, you know, around the edges, you know. I knew he was from the streets and he used to do his thing and all the rest of that stuff, you know. Not because he told me, I just sensed his energy prior to him, you know, him telling me the shit that he, you know, been through, right? So, you know, he used to be positioned in a parking lot right like kind of like in front of the dollar store with his van trunk open up, and he would sell his CDs and his movies out of the van, right? And G would walk around talking to different people. Now every now and then G would intentionally walk past us and kind of like, for some odd reason, fuck with B to get him all riled up. And I used to be like, yo, just let it go. You know what I'm saying? I used to tell B, yo, just let it go, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, you on probation. You know, you got your kids to think about. Me and B, we used to have these conversations, you know what I'm saying, while we were selling oils and incense. And the conversations were like, you know, what we wanted to do besides sell this mess that we were selling, right? And one of his goals that he wanted to achieve was to open up in Charlotte spoken word, you know, slam and karaoke night, you know. And I was like, yo, man, that's pretty ill, you know what I'm saying? I want to be a part of that, right? So I was telling him like, yo, man, you got dreams and goals and achievements that you want to, things that you want to accomplish, man. Let that shit go. I understand that he's an asshole. That's G, that is. I understand it, but just let it go, right? So eventually, you know, me and B, we got real tight. I didn't have a car, so he would pick me up from where I lived at. At that time, I was living off of W.T. Harris, not too far from North Lake, right? So what I would have to do is, it was apartments called the Oaks, right? They renamed it now. But what I would have to do is walk from W.T. Harris all the way up Sunset Boulevard, across 77, Highway 77, the bridge, to the intersection of Betty's Ford and Sunset Boulevard. And it would take me like an hour and a half. And he was like, yo, man, you don't have to do that. I'll pick you up, right? So he would pick me up. On the weekends, Friday through like Sunday, we would go out to the spot that I was telling you about, you know, Sunset Boulevard, Betty's Ford, or whatever. And then Monday through Thursday, we would go out to the barbershops and different places like that, right? So, you know, we got real tight. So, you know, one day, I was like, yo, man, you know, I got something to do this weekend coming up. And he was like, yeah, it's no problem. You know what I'm saying? What I'm going to do, and I was talking about that Saturday coming up. I was like, yo, no, he was like, yo, what I'm going to do, I'm going to come out here early, because normally we'll get out there early. You know what I'm saying? I'll just, you know, I'll be out there, you know, and you know, you come whatever, you get there. You know what I'm saying? I was like, yeah, because, you know, mother of my children, we rented a car. And I think it was tax season. We had got our taxes back that weekend or whatever, and we was planning on that week. And that weekend coming up, the Saturday I was telling you about, we was planning on buying some things for the children and taking care of some things. You know what I'm saying? So we wound up renting the car, the mother of my children and I, that weekend. And you know, we get up early, we do our thing or whatever have you. So I'm en route of, you know, it's about 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. You know what I'm saying? I'm en route to going to the spot. So I call my man B and let him know, hey, listen, I'm on my way. He's like, all right, cool, no problem. I'm still out here doing my thing or whatever. I'm like, yo, how's the spot? Is it busy? This and that, so forth. He's like, yo, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? It ain't that much money, but you know, it's still early. So I'm like, all right, cool. So, you know, I get to the spot, and I always, you know, have whoever drops me off, I always tell them to park from a distance, and I'll walk on down. Especially the mother of my children. You know, if we rented a car, had borrowed somebody's car, whatever have you. So this particular time, it was the same thing. You know, they park all the way up to the top, and I'll walk on down, right? So I'm walking on down, and I see B is not there. And it's warm outside, but it's kind of windy. And I'm not lying. It's like papers flying everywhere. And I'm like, where the papers is coming from? So as I'm getting closer to this, you know, the area that me and B were at in a parking lot, you know, which is right across from, or right in front of Family Dollar. Not exactly in front of it, but you know what I'm saying, like close to it. I'm seeing a bunch of people surrounded around something and they're looking down to the ground, right? So I'm like, this is strange. So I stopped and I turned around and I was like, telling the mother of my children, yo, hold up for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know what's going on, right? So she's there. She ain't going nowhere. I'm walking further and I see blood. Then the papers are flying everywhere and I pick up one and lo and behold, it's G's flyers, the flyers that he had with the list of DVDs and CDs that he has up there, as well as his phone number and his name and number, right? So I'm like, all right, man, this is looking real ill right here. You know what I'm saying? My man B ain't here, and G, his flyers are flying everywhere, and then there's some people that circled around something. And they're looking down. So as I get closer, as I approach the Family Dollar store, I see bullet holes in the window. And then I see blood, right? That's trickling, you know what I'm saying, on the cement, like dripping off the cement or whatever, the curb. I go up further, and then I see what everybody's looking down on, and it's G, and he has a hole in his mouth, 2 bullet holes in his shoulder and 1 in his arm, right? So I'm like, oh shit. So then I turn around. Now it's the short dude. I don't know if I told you but the short dude it's the dude that I was telling you that rolled with G. He's short. I don't really like him. He was out there too. So everybody's trying to attend to G because he shot up, and they calling the cops, and I'm hearing, sirens and all the rest of that stuff. So I turn around and I'm walking towards the car. So something tells me, yo, give B a call to find out what happened. You understand? So I give B a call. He picks up the phone. He's like, yo, what's up? I'm like, yo, what's going on? This guy G is laid out. You know what I'm saying? Where you at? This and that, so forth. He's like, yo, I'm on the run, yo. I'm like, what do you mean you on the run? What happened? He's like, yo, I shot him. I'm like, whoa. What do you mean you shot him? He's like, yo, he kept on running his damn mouth, and I gave it to him. After that, I was like, all right, man, you take it easy. Have a good life, man. Click. I get in the car. I tell the mother of my children what happens. I tell her to pull off or whatever she pulls off. I text Pretty Ricky. As I'm texting Pretty Ricky, you know what I'm saying? I'm nervous because I'm cool with B. The short dude is out there. He sees me. That's cool with G. And everybody knows that's out there. You know what I'm saying? Because there are people that just come out there every weekend. Everybody knows that I'm out there with B. So I'm affiliated with this dude. This ain't the first time I've ever seen somebody get shot up, but this is the first time that I've ever been affiliated with this type of fuckery, right? So I'm nervous. So I text Pretty Ricky and I'm like, yo, man, I didn't give no names. I said, dude shot this person, And lo and behold, I text B by mistake because that's how nervous I am. So B texts me back like, yo, you snitching? I'm like, nah, I was just telling my brother what happened. He's like, all right, cool. Other than that, yo, take it easy. I was like, all right, take it easy, right? So I get to the house and, I'm chilling. So I let a couple days, pass by. I got rent, I got bills to pay, all the rest of that, right? So I go back out to the spot. I set up my stuff. I'm selling incense and stuff like that. Lo and behold, the little short dude that I was telling you about that I don't like walks past me. So I'm saying to myself, you know what, man? Let me go ahead and push my pride to the side. You know what I'm saying? And just be on some shit like, yo, just letting this dude know I ain't got nothing to do with what happened. You know what I'm saying? Like me and B and I are cool, but I wasn't out there and I ain't got nothing to do with it, right? So I go to the dude. I'm like, yo, man, listen, I want to let you know I ain't had nothing to do with that. This dude said, as far as I'm concerned, you and everybody else are suspect. My man is laying out in a hospital bed right now, shot up. So I'm looking at the dude like, are you serious? Now, I'm not going to lie. This is my word. I want to smack the shit out of this dude because I ain't got nothing to do with this. But I can't because I'm on this dude's territory. Right? I'm in Charlotte by myself. I don't know nobody in Charlotte at the time, right? Only person I know is B, right? So I said, all right, man, cool. I walked away, right? I left the spot. And then I said to myself, you know what? Ain't nobody gonna pump me down or whatever have you. I'm going out to the spot. I ain't got shit to do with this. Nothing to do with it. So he can't include me in nothing, right? I go out there like I gave it a week. I went out there the next week, right? I let like about 5 or 6 days, lapse over. I go out there, and lo and behold, I see the dude that got shot up, G. And I'm looking at him and I'm like, yo, are you dead ass with it? Like, you gotta, like, this man, this is my word. I'm not embellishing it on the truth whatsoever. This man had a hole in his mouth. He was patched up, but it was blood coming down. He had a his arm was in a cast. You know what I'm saying? It was just messed up. He was just messed up. And then his face was swole up. You understand? By him, getting hit. So I'm looking at him. Next thing you know, the short dude is over there by the barbershop talking to 4 other dudes. They point at me like on some shit like, yo, that's that man. That's his man right there. I was like, all right, cool, I'm out. And I left. And yo, man, I ain't gonna even lie, man. I was on eggshells for quite a few months because I had to live in that area and I had to catch the bus and all the rest of that shit. And excuse me. I mean, man, they could have got to me at any given time. And B later on got arrested. And they took him to jail. And it's crazy. G didn't press any charges. So the only thing, if I'm not mistaken, that B had to like deal with, he was on probation and he had that, the burner, the blicky, the stick, you know what I'm saying, that was illegal, you understand? So I think he did about a year, 2 or something like that, and then he got out. It's crazy. Later on, you know what I'm saying, in life, we wind up getting back in touch with one another on Instagram, and I follow him, he follow me, and he's actually changed and turned his life around, you understand? Like, he's on some black power shit, you know what I'm saying? And doing good for the community. You know what I mean? And he told me, he was like, yo, when I got out of jail, I was looking for you. He was like, yo, man, you the only positive person that I ever had in my life. You know what I'm saying? And I went all around Charlotte looking for you, trying to find you, man, because I just loved being around you, being that you was just so positive. And I was like, yeah, man, I thought about you, but, I really didn't know what happened. And I had to continue going on with life. I had children and this and that and so forth, And far as G and the short dude, I seen the short dude a couple years back when I was in Charlotte before I moved to Atlanta. At this place, it was called a Healthy Home Market. He was walking past the Healthy Home Market, located off of South Boulevard in the South End area. There used to be a there used to be a Healthy Home Market grocery store, just like Whole Foods. But now they tore that down, and now it's a Harris Teeter right there with, off of South Boulevard. But I seen him, and he gave me the eye. I gave him the eye, and he didn't say shit, and I ain't say shit. G, I never seen the dude ever again. I don't know what happened to him. And that was about it, man. I've never been involved in any type of situation like that. I've been in a numerous of shootouts, and I ain't talking about me pulling out the blicky and shooting. No, I'm talking about shootouts like at the club. I was at a house party and shit, and I was one of the ones that was ducking behind the car. That type of, I've been in the midst of shootouts. You know what I'm saying? At that time, I didn't know anything about guns. You know what I'm saying? Legal guns, that is. I didn't have my CCW or any of that shit. All I had was a little blade. You understand? So if them dudes wanted to get at me, they could have got at me. The moral of the story, man, is submerge yourself in and be around people that are positive. You understand? And that people, if you think that for 1 second that you are around a person that's like suspect, like meaning that they got a temper, or they have a life, a prior life that you don't know about, and they on the run, or you know what I'm saying, they shot somebody. In other words, what I'm saying, don't get yourself involved with anyone else's business. You understand? Stay to yourself, Focus on what you're doing in life and let that other bullshit be. Straight up. Because this situation right here could have ended entirely different. Straight up. And, of course, as usual, I would have been the victim. I would have been the one that would have been 6 feet under. And everybody else would have carried on with their life. Something that I ain't had nothing to do with. I could have got hurt in the process. You understand? So, yeah, man, there's more stories to come. Other than that, my name is Langston2092. I want you to like, comment, subscribe, and definitely share this video. Peace.